A case study of Pioneer High School, Broadening the Network. This presentation seeks to identify, address and resolve a current issue with professional learning at Pioneer High School. Beginning with a brief outline of the school context, the case study will present an analysis of issues with networking and the role of leadership in this. Proposed solutions will be targeted towards ameliorating collaborative practices amongst staff and external providers and to enhance teacher professional learning, consequently improving student outcomes. Pioneer High School is a large government secondary school in the Clarence Valley Northern Rivers region of New South Wales. Boasting a population of 936 students and 72 teaching staff, Pioneer High School is the largest school in its council area. This case study will primarily focus on the effects of an autocratic leadership style which does not promote the collaborative practices necessary for enhancing student achievement. Results from a recent survey conducted at Pioneer High School underpin the basis of this analysis. The design of this survey was informed by electronic survey quality design criteria as suggested by Andrews, Nonek and Priest. All staff members, executive and non-executive, were invited to respond. A total of 61 out of 72 staff members responded. The following statements can be deduced from their collective opinions. 50.8% of respondents believe the collective knowledge of the team is not willingly shared. This is a direct reflection of the lack of distributed leadership and relational trust present at Pioneer High School. Professional learning networks can be described as reciprocal learning systems, drawing on the funds of knowledge of the local and wider community. Sharing the collective knowledge of the team requires leadership to adopt a strengths-based approach to teaching and learning. This would be beneficial as it allows for the collaboration across grade levels and departments. The lack of such an approach has led the staff at Pioneer High School to marginalise teachers' differences rather than embrace their strengths, also known as pedagogical indifference. 4.9% of respondents believe that opportunities for professional conversations between staff are always created and encouraged. The staff at Pioneer High School appear to work unilaterally of one another, which is contrary to the desired collaborative culture focused towards collectively enhancing student achievement. Professional learning is often presented by the same authority, delivered lecture style with passive listening preferred over active engagement and collaborative discussions. This method of delivery has produced a lack of relational trust, which is negatively impacting the development of professional conversations and normalizing statements. 80.4% of respondents believe external providers presenting professional learning to staff increases engagement and participation in professional learning sessions. Due to the rural location of Pioneer High School, attending externally hosted professional learning is inhibited by several barriers. For example, travel expenses, class cover, transportation, and more. For this reason, much of the professional learning is delivered in service and coordinated by the school leadership team. Unfortunately, this results in incumbent meetings and training days which are often delivered by the same authority, thus lacking distributed leadership and teacher ownership of the process. Teachers' involvement with professional learning networks that extend beyond the school can be a significant factor in the support for instructional improvement. Research suggests that discipline and project-focused networks engage teacher commitment. 67.2% of respondents are members of an online professional learning network outside of the school's provided servers. This suggests that many of the staff at Pioneer High School are willing to network and engage with other teaching professionals in order to improve their pedagogy. Online PLNs encourage and foster this concept of the continuous on-the-go professional learning, which evidence suggests has a far more significant impact on the adoption of new instruction and student achievement than one-shot workshops with little direct connection to classrooms, coaching support, or follow-up procedures. It can be argued that as pedagogies change and as students come equipped with more extensive digital capabilities, our processes need to change to not only improve professional learning experiences, but also enhance the use of technology and its educational potential in the classroom. That is, to grow their teaching of digital literacies, teachers can capitalize on the affordances of digital tools and social networking capabilities to collaborate, plan with, and learn from other teachers in their own school, as well as other teachers in other schools across the country who are asking the same kinds of questions. It is evident from the survey results that there needs to be a significant broadening of the teaching networks at Pioneer High School. Faculties operate independently of each other, and many teachers operate independently within their faculties. For professional learning to be effective and to enable the improvement of student outcomes, it is critical the leadership team urges a shift in the current paradigm at Pioneer High School. Recently, scholarly discourse regarding improving teacher quality and thus student outcomes has been directed towards the establishment of professional learning networks. Tobin coined the term professional learning network to describe a network of people and resources that support ongoing learning. He postulated that learning doesn't take place just in training programs, but should be part of every employee's everyday activities. You learn every time you read a book or article, every time you observe how someone else is doing work similar to your own, every time you ask a question. It is suggested at this point that there is a broadening of the Pioneer High School network covering the following domains: online, with a professional learning Google Drive, the immediate school community, as well as external providers and the wider school community, schools Skillshare. The establishment of these professional learning networks would consist of teachers working collaboratively to support each other through shared planning and curriculum development, accessing resources within and outside the school, and providing feedback or coaching for teachers. It has been previously mentioned that location and funding are the two primary barriers inhibiting teacher involvement in external professional learning at Pioneer High School. However, it is advised that the allocation of funding should be reviewed. Currently, each teacher is allocated an amount they may use as necessary, but this small amount is rarely enough to adequately cover access to courses. Also, teachers that do utilise their funds to attend courses do not often willingly share the knowledge they have acquired. An alternative solution could be encouraged whereby the $150,000 professional learning budget is used to schedule effective and researched external providers of professional learning during staff development days and twilight meetings. This would enable all staff to have access to the same information. A potential drawback with this approach is that staff are consequently not being encouraged to seek out their own professional learning for their specialised areas. To combat this, the allocation of separate whole school and specialty PL budgets are advised. Also, it should be noted that externally provided professional learning, although proven to increase engagement for the duration of the course, is not always effectively implemented following its completion. For this reason, policies and procedures for ongoing support and active reflection should be implemented. Staff attending professional learning should be mandated to reflect on the course immediately preceding their attendance and then follow up with a more critical reflection regarding the efficacy of their implementation in the succeeding 6 to 12 months. Residing within a 100-kilometre radius of the school's location are 16 primary schools and 17 secondary schools currently in operation. With a vast array of experienced teachers readily available and within the local community, networking opportunities are abundant. Schools Skillshare is proposed as an initiative to draw on the funds of knowledge of these primary and secondary school networks. As the name suggests, this initiative requires the establishment of discipline and project-focused networks designed to facilitate professional conversations between teachers across faculties and schools. Schools Skillshare will require extensive planning, teacher commitment, and consistent implementation to be effective. It will also require a dynamic leadership team consisting of representatives from each school who endorse and support collaborative professional learning environments. The primary form of whole staff communication and circulation of documents at Pioneer High School is through Google Drive. However, this is not being utilised to its full potential, particularly in regard to professional learning. It can be said that the collective knowledge of the team is not shared due to the lack of a consistent platform for sharing. By developing a professional learning folder for sharing lesson plans, programs, resources, teaching strategies, student work, and more, the Pioneer High School leadership team can begin to encourage the distribution of leadership and knowledge, which will in turn enable teachers to take ownership of the professional learning process. It is also advised that scaffolded files for reflection and implementation of professional learning opportunities, as suggested previously, are shared on this platform. To conclude, Pioneer High School requires a paradigm shift if it is to see improvement in teacher quality and student learning outcomes. The leadership team are required to become catalysts for change in the plight to establish successful professional learning networks. The initial implementation plan requires an immediate review of the 2020 professional learning budget, nominations and designations for a dynamic team of expert teachers to lead the school's Skillshare initiative in the Clarence Valley, and the development of a professional learning folder and resources on the Pioneer High School Google Drive. A secondary implementation plan, effective January 2020, will be developed and presented to staff at the next staff meeting. Thank you for your time.